Hello, this is Ken here of Kakuchopurei. Today with me is our very honorable Yang Berhormat Hannah Yeoh, Minister of Youth and Sports for Malaysia. As you guys are aware, we interviewed Syed Saddiq roughly 4 years ago. So this year, we finally got another opportunity to talk to the Minister. And today we're going to ask a few questions about video games and esports in Malaysia, issues that all video gamers and even esports enthusiasts always have coming up, and hopefully YB Hannah can help address them and even provide assurances, especially to esports enthusiasts, regardless of their level of involvement. My first question would be, so what are your thoughts about the video games industry and esports in general in Malaysia at the moment?
Okay. I am new in this role. It's my 5th or 6th month now into learning about sports and also, the youth industry. But for sports, we all know now we have about 103 types of sports listed in our Akta Pembangunan Sukan. And just like how I am taking time to learn about all the other sports, the same thing I'm doing for esports. And so one of our agencies, Impact, has been introducing me to a lot of the esports industry. So Matt has invited me to their tournament in Bukit Kiara, and also to the filming, the launch with Astro on Jalo 14 Season 2. And the times that I went and came in contact with the fans and the supporters and the players, I can see that it's very extensive. There's a lot of interest in the young in young people following esports. So I know for sure, with the little that I know, that there is great potential if we grow this in a sustainable way. When I say sustainable, I want it to make sure that on their own, they can run every year without disturbance or intervention in that sense, or without a lot of intervention from government sector or anyone. I just want it to be stable.
Okay, so Syed Saddiq was well known to be a proponent of esports. But as we know, between him and you, there were two other ministers of youth and sports. So how different or how similar your approach will be? Especially, taking, whether are you adjusting what they've introduced, or what's your approach right now?
I think every minister comes in a very different season. So when Saddiq came in 2018, a lot of the interest about esports, I think Saddiq did a very good job in creating awareness, introducing that to the nation about esports. And then, of course, when Rizal American took over, it was also the season of COVID. When he came in March, that's when the lockdown happened. I have been told that, Rizal, he launched the esports integrated. And then, of course, when Faisal came in as the sports minister, then things were starting to open up. And then there were more tournaments. So now that I am in now, we are now looking into governance issue. I understand that there's a lot of things in that industry that needs more regulations or monitoring, at least, to provide some kind of protection to our athletes. So that's something I am interested to look at. And also, in March this year, we issued a Perintah Pembangunan Sukan Pindaan Jadual Pertama 2023. We grew the list of sports to 103 now, and e-Sukan or esports now officially listed in it. When I first came in, there were a lot of parents, doctors emailed me about, we want to know, are you going to support esports? And I say, why? They say, it creates an addiction. I don't think you should be promoting it, like the former ministers and all that. So I took time to understand their concerns, the health perspective. And I find that we need to help children, especially the younger athletes, younger players who enter into esports. We need to teach them how to detach. That means because they are different from a 21-year-old esport athlete. A 12-year-old will not know, after 8 hours, I should take a break, right? So this is the safeguard, I think, to that ecosystem that needs to be introduced via Ministry of Education. So there should be a lot more awareness given to help athletes who come in to different levels of esports, Yeah.
So it's basically try to curb the addiction and also understanding.
I think, helping them find a balance, especially athletes who are very young, who come in at a very young age. Yeah.
All right. So speaking about athletes and, what is being done, because in the past we've come across news about, esports athletes qualifying for overseas tournaments and then eventually failing to participate because they are not receiving either assistance or sometimes they just can't afford to fly overseas. So what's being done from your side for that?
Okay, so this year we will be launching the National Esports Development Guidelines on NASDAQ, and we will look into some of these issues concerning the welfare of the athletes, contracts, and all that. But for athletes wanting to go for exposure, wanting to go for tournaments and all that, you are always looking at funding issue. Okay, and funding issue is a bit tricky because there are so many sports wanting funding. So that's why I say I want to grow the industry to ensure that the audience for every sport, when you create more awareness, you will have more audience. When you have more audience as spectators, more sponsors will want to come in, right? And when that is how the ecosystem will be sustainable on its own if you put in the right support structure by the government. So that's what I'm interested. So in January, I did a town hall with the sports industry players and just to listen to their ideas, and I think that will be ongoing. I definitely think I need to do more engagement to listen to the esports athletes, which I have not been able to do just specific on esports alone. At some point, I really want to do that to understand more, and also just to see how we can better utilize the budget that is allocated by the government to support esports.
Okay.
Yeah.
So esports will inevitably be a medal sport in the Olympics.
Yes.
So, what are plans to actually, to get the best out of it and perhaps even see Malaysia's first gold coming actually from esports? So what are your thoughts on that?
Okay, we set up the road to goal to get the first goal for Malaysia, right? But that's looking at Paris 2024 and Los Angeles 2028. I understand that for esports, they will have a different kind of Olympics for esports in Singapore. And recently, I did a video for the team contesting in Cambodia, right? For me, I definitely want to celebrate our athletes the same way I would celebrate somebody who's running 100 meters or 400 meters. And I hope that the nation will also be celebrating it like that. Let me think. We have matching grant given to us this year by the government, 40 million. Okay. And the whole idea of the matching grant, for the first time, MOF is giving us that matching grant. That matching grant is meant to create national tournaments that will help our athletes improve their ranking. So I really want, esports to be utilizing also, because esports now recognized as a type of sport under our Akta Pembangunan Sukan, to have more of this kind of national tournaments, so to give all these players a chance. I would really like to see younger players come through this kind of new national tournaments using this matching grant, because when you have a lot of other tournaments that have been organized already, a lot of the professionals come, and if you are a young 9-year-old player or 10-year-old player, it's kind of intimidating, right? So this talent development pool, matching grant can be used for tournaments like that to grow new talent that is less intimidating. I would like to see that happen. Yeah.
So in a way, you are basically bridging the gap between professional esports players and aspiring and grassroots level
beginners. Yes.
Yeah. Normally, when people talk about esports, people normally associate it with being in the big cities, Kuala Lumpur, Penang, Johor.
Yeah.
But what do you have in store for players or even aspiring esports athletes who are from rural areas, especially those places where they don't have fast internet or even a lot of infrastructure that allows the esports ecosystem to thrive? Yeah.
So in the past, all the budget given to KBS for esports have been used to develop hubs, right? Studios and hubs. But that's something I really want to see, especially in Borneo side, Sabah and Sarawak, having more of such hubs. And that matching grant that I say, if we can have tournaments like that at these hubs, maybe not at Kuala Lumpur, but can you imagine doing it in Tawau or in Bintulu, some of these places, to generate activities at that level for the grassroots new players there. Always when you talk about internet connection and all that, it always comes with demand, right? And so when you create this kind of activities at that place, and of course to get the lawmakers involved, their MPs, I would like to see more of these things happen at that level, and definitely I think connectivity will then follow, right? But the other thing also, the importance of doing more tournaments at the grassroots level, introducing it to children. If you can bring in Ministry of Health and Ministry of Education to tell them, while you promote esports, you also teach them how to detox from it, right? How to find the balance in their studies. I think that is something that the parents will welcome. Yeah. So I need to be able to bring that balance while promoting esports, to also offer some kind of hope and solution to the older generation who's resisting it, because they have seen maybe the extreme impact of esports that nobody wants to talk about. So during the COVID time, the lockdown, I, as a lawmaker, a member of parliament, I had to deal with 2 cases in my area concerning children who are addicted to online games. And it came so drastic, the parents actually didn't know what to do, like they have to call police. So I know that there are many other families who are struggling, and of course these are the small players, children whom we will never read about in these tournaments, right? But if we don't fix this, then you will always have the resistance, the voices coming from taxpayers, because they see this in their home. So that's something, that awareness, we must bridge that.
It's great. You mentioned that you're working alongside other ministries.
We have to.
You have to, right? So I would like to ask another question. This might concern video games in general rather than just esports.
Yes.
So what do you see the future for Malaysian video game enthusiasts, especially going into the video games industry as a career, and what do you think can be done?
Recently, I was invited to speak, just to give a opening address in this workshop for game content creator from other countries. And of course, they talk about the social causes that you can tell creators to use in their creation of those games, to highlight a certain cause, to create awareness. And I think Malaysia is a very unique place, because we have unity issue now, and that's something the unity government wants to promote. But these are core things, I think, to teach young generation. Whatever the education system is failing in terms of promoting unity, I think esports, if you have the right content, we can actually bridge that and promote unity. Because whether you like it or not, a child who's studying in vernacular school, a child in Sekolah Kebangsaan or Sekolah Pondok might eventually be playing the same game online. This is when, if we are creative enough to use a game to create unity for the next generation, I think we will close all those gaps that is currently present.
So it's basically utilizing esports as the vehicle to get everyone on the same page.
On national agenda.
Exactly.
Yeah.
All right. So my last question would be, most of the questions just now is to address the weariness or the questions from the esports enthusiasts.
Yeah.
But sometimes they are young, and at the end of the day, they have parents.
Yeah.
So perhaps you have something to say to parents whose kids want to get into esports, or even contemplating video games as a potential career.
Yeah. My message to parents would be, everything is about balance now. I don't think we can forever shield our kids from the movement that is happening globally. Everybody is on YouTube. Every child knows about Instagram, TikTok. You won't be able to fight that change that is happening at such a rapid pace. But I think we can introduce safeguarding methods to help our kids find that balance. How do you spend equal amount of time studying, playing as a recreational or sport, and at the same time see that also as a career prospect, right? So introduce this to the next generation and then let them decide what's good. But as lawmaker, as government, we have a duty to provide protection Yeah, and that's something I think we have to work with KKD, Kementerian Komunikasi dan Digital, to ensure that they also do their part in terms of regulation and all that, to ensure that when we promote safe sport, we just launched safe sport code. Safe sport code must also be safe online for these people who are playing. I'm definitely, as a mother, I struggle a bit when I see games that are very violent and gory, right? But kids have a choice what kind of games that they will have to play. So these are some things that you have to teach them, not ban, but really educate them as to what's good and what's not good, and then help them make those choices along the way.
Basically, help them make the good decisions rather than just shielding them.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. All right, I think that's
okay.
Thank you so much, YB Hannah, for your time today, and I think we've got something really, really good that will assure a lot of people, especially our audience today, about esports and video games industry in Malaysia. So for more esports content, stay tuned to Kakuchopurei.